Ladies and gentlemen, we will now reconvene our August the 6th meeting and begin our order of business for the public hearing on a form-based code appeal. So I'm going to depend on the city attorney to kind of help guide me through this, but at this time, we're going to ask that if our form-based code staff would give us a presentation of what we'll be looking at.
Yes. Nicole, is it already loaded? Thank you, Council. Good afternoon. My name is Akoshua Cook. I work in the Land Development Office as a Development Review Planner over Form-Based Code. Back in April, we heard a case, Form-Based Code 24-4. It's addressed at 1846 North Market. I'm going to skip through some of these slides, but it's here for your information that in form-based code, the intent of the code is to balance conservation. It's to promote design excellence and also to ensure our downtown has a prosperous and sustainable future. These are some of the principles that our committee is allowed to consider when they take a look at modifications. Again, we want a safe, walkable, and attractive downtown with opportunities for redevelopment, housing, transit, but we also want to protect our single-family residential areas. And again, similar to our regular zoning code, we have a process for if there is a hardship, we call it a modification in form-based code. And again, it recognizes that there are some lots that may have constraints that they can't comply with all the code regulations, but it is the responsibility of the applicant to demonstrate that burden of their hardship and how this modification would still equal or exceed the existing standard. Again, the Form-Based Code Committee, they review all the requests for major modifications that don't qualify for staff approval or review appeals to staff decisions and interpretations. And this is the appeals process. There's been a lot of questions about it, but basically, if something is denied or approved at Form-Based Code, the aggrieved party can then appeal that decision to City Council. Then council will, again, we provide a summary report of the case, then council will have a public hearing for it, and you use the same guidelines that we use with Form-Based Code Committee to make your decisions. But again, Phil can describe to you the multiple options you guys have when you deliberate this. And again, your role is to just review appeals from Form-Based Code Committee decisions or interpretations. The case was located at 1846 Market Street. This is in the urban context area, commercial mixed use. It can go up to 3 stories. The applicant, Mike Price, requested 6 different modifications, ranging from reducing the building frontage, allowing for this to be just 1 story, additional parking spaces, and then landscaping needs to be modified. This is a picture of the sign that was noticed there. This property is on Market Street between 17th and 19th Street, really close to I-24, or 20th Street. Right now, it's just 2 vacant buildings, and these are some of the adjacent properties. This is the site plan that was shown back in April, and the floor plan along with the elevations. So again, these are the modifications. This context area does allow for single use in a building, even though it promotes vertical mixed use. Again, these are the reasons for the modification request. And I did show the site plan to other reviewers. Transportation provided these comments, that they want that detectable warning surface at the curb. And then the parking along the alley is to be a minimum of 8 feet. The landscaping person also felt like these variances were appropriate, but wanted some additional screening. I know that Mike has met with the community and he has a revised design that I think meets the neighborhood specifications. So again, this design was denied by our committee back in April. He, within 30 days, gave us the notice of appeal, so that's why we're here before you today. And I'm here to answer any questions along with the Director of the Land Development Office, Bill Gore.
Any questions from the council at this time? Okay. All right, now we're going to ask if there are any aggrieved parties present that would like to come forward and present at this time. And I guess, Madam IT, if you'd give us a total of 9 minutes on the clock. All right.
Thank you. Mike Price, MAP Engineers. And so we do have before you this case as it relates to 1846 Market Street. I think this is a fairly simple request given where we have come out with Councilwoman Dotley's help, which we had a neighborhood meeting recently. And out of that neighborhood meeting, we presented a revised site plan. The revised site plan, we think, based upon the comments received from the community members, really hit the mark in terms of what the community was looking for and what they were asking to occur as it relates to development pattern on this property. And so the request, I would believe, coming out of tonight's council action would be to send the revised site plan back to the Form-Based Code Committee and let them take the normal process as it relates to the request of the major modifications and hopefully gain the approval that way. That was basically the will of the people, and we certainly, as the representative of the applicant, think that that's a great process. And again, we appreciate Councilwoman Dotley and all your help in helping to have that meeting and have that dialogue and hopefully reach a process where this site can be developed and stop being sort of a blight on the community in its current state. So if there's any questions, happy to answer those.
Any questions for Mr. Price at this time? Okay, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, Councilwoman Dotley.
So, as Mr. Price, thank you, Chairman. As Mr. Price stated, we did have a neighborhood meeting and came to a consensus. I do want to thank the Fort Negley Neighborhood Association, Mike Price, and Michael Gore. Did I say it right?
Yeah.
Yes, he came out with land development.
Bill Gore.
Bill Gore, making up names. Bill Gore, thank you so much for coming out
Sure.
and helping the neighborhood navigate this, because this was new for all of us.
Yeah.
Okay, Phil, here we go. I make a motion to remand this back to form-based code.
Yes, yes.
All right,
Okay, got
we
it?
have a motion on the floor to remand back to form-based code with a proper second. Are there any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries.
And I believe this matter can be heard by the Form-Based Code Committee in September, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so based upon the remand, they are free to do that. Yes.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Moving now to ordinances under final reading. Madam Clerk, if you would, let's take items A, B, and C together as a package, please.
Yes. Item A, an ordinance closing and abandoning the unopened right-of-way in the west side row of the 1700 block of Joyner Road as detailed on the attached map subject to certain conditions. Item B, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to lift and amend conditions of ordinance number 13280, a previous case number 2018-0017 for properties located in the 1700 through 1900 blocks of Henniger Circle, subject to certain conditions. Item C, an ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code, Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone parts of 1730 Gun Barrel Road and 1721 Joyner Road from R1 residential zone to R4 special zone.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move to approve on final read items A, B, and C.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor to approve items 7A, B, and C with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. So moved. Moving under ordinances first reading, 8A, please.
An ordinance closing and abandoning the unopened right-of-way in the unopened 300 block of East Manning Street as detailed on the attached map subject to certain conditions.
Councilwoman Vice Chair Hill.
I move to deny.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to deny with a proper second. Are there any questions or comments before we vote on item 8A? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed is no. The ayes have it. Moving now into resolutions, Madam Clerk, 9A, please.
A resolution confirming the reappointment of Joe Manuel to the Board of Zoning Appeals for District 3 with a term beginning on August 7, 2024 and ending on August 6, 2027.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed is no. Motion carries. Now moving to the mayor's office. 9B, please.
A A resolution confirming Mayor Kelly's appointment of Carol Hunter as Community Development Administrator.
What's the pleasure of the council?
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Any questions or comments on 9B before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed is no.
No.
All right, I believe the chair declares that the motion does carry. All right. Is Ms. Hunter here? Is Ms. Hunter here? Oh, there you are. Congratulations. All right. All right, now moving to purchases. Julia?
Good evening, council. We have 4 purchases for approval this evening and then 1 sole source to report as well. For the 4 purchases recommended for approval, the first is from the Street Maintenance Division of Public Works. This is a year 2 of a 4-year contract with Atchison Foundry and Maintenance Work, requesting a price increase of 5% for manhole components. The new annual spend for year 2 will be $115,000. The second is from the Street Maintenance Division of Public Works. This is a year 3 of a 4-year contract with Evans Lumber Company, requesting a price increase of 23% for lumber and lumber products. The new annual spend for year 3 will be $68,000. Third is from the Street Maintenance Division of Public Works. This is 3 new blanket contracts for tree removal, storm cleanup, and pruning services. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $210,000 with Big Woody's Tree Service, a Lumberjacks Tree Service, and Tree Works LLC as the best bids for the city of Chattanooga. The fourth and final purchase is from Fleet Management Division of Public Works. This is a request for an increase for Moss Sellers Wrecker Inc. that will exceed the current amount limit due to unforeseen usage of the contract. Fleet Management has approved a $160,000 increase for a new annual estimated spend of $350,000 for year 1.
All right, council, what's your pleasure?
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. With any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. So moved.
The 1 sole source purchase that we have to report is from Technology Services. This is a renewal of the contract with Edemia for maintenance of the CPD's latent print workstations from July 12th of 2024 to July 11th of 2025 in the amount of $29,622. Thank you.
All right, moving now into committee reports. Councilman Smith. Councilman Ledford. Thank you. Councilwoman Coonrod. Councilwoman Knoll.
No report.
Councilwoman Dotley.
No report.
Vice Chair Hill.
No report.
And I did chair the Parks and Public Work this afternoon, where we got an update about a new, I guess, way we're collecting brush, a new process for collecting brush, where we'll call in and report your brush collection either through 311, the 311 app, or email. So just please note that. And I think that service takes place beginning August 12th, which that's when the 311 app will be live again for that. All right, that brings us to the point in time that we recognize persons wishing to address the council this afternoon. Are there anyone here that would like to address the council? Mr. Attorney, if you would, let's go over the rules to address the council.
Yes, sir. And at the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address the council. Here are your rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized at the microphone up front for that purpose. You can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can address the council only upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority, and not on matters which are under the authority of other governmental bodies or agencies. You can only use proper language, do not engage in any vulgar or obscene language, nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others, and address your comments to the council as a whole and not make comments directed towards individual council members. And lastly, do not engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting, which is prohibited by Tennessee law. And someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having stated those rules, please go ahead, Mr. Bell.
Yeah, well, thank you, Mr. Attorney. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox, man with the $1 trillion voice. 1000 Linda Street, and then we're going to use 625 George Avenue. Contempt or not to contempt? Failure to appear or not? A failure to appear. A citizen or not a citizen? If you all recall, I ran for the office of the mayor, city mayor, 2020. The most ridiculous thing that ever happened in my life beyond reading American history was the fact that after being 15 years at 727 East 11th Street, because I was rendered into that poverty-stricken state, made the best of it. When I ran for the office of the mayor, I'm challenged with a ridiculous residency issue. We haven't gotten to that yet. I filed a lawsuit against that. That information and evidence was removed from the court's filings. July the 13th, after I was kidnapped, robbed, and abducted here, filed a lawsuit in Hamilton County courts. That information and evidence was removed, along with some mysterious person went in and expunged that criminal activity. We can't find that. This is the book, or a small portion of it. It says, "For whom the bell tolls." Whether you all know it or not, you've run into history in the making. You ran right into it. I want every attorney in the city of Chattanooga, the county of Hamilton, and the state of Tennessee, whatever university you attended, I want that degree rescinded and pulled. And I'm going to get that. $211 billion, $34 million for your fraud on the entire 11th Judicial District Court. I'm going to get that. And I want an apology for having someone come into my city, my town, and kidnap, and rob, and abduct me, and put me in the press. And then they're in the press. So it says, Monty, how do you know when you're in a one-horse buggy town? When your chief of police and your sheriff commit more crimes than the residents that are born and raised here. I have gotten tired of the judicial system. And I'll leave it at that.
All right. Anyone else that would like to address the council this afternoon? Council, I am not seeing anyone. What's your pleasure? So moved.